Hey guys, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to MBBS Treasure channel. I hope everyone will be fine at their end. Today we are going to discuss a topic that is fever. After the topic of inflammation, we are going to discuss the topic that is fever. Okay, so fever is a normal physiological or it can be proceed to a pathological condition and that we most oftenly face in our life. Okay, so we are going to discuss a very important topic that is fever. Let's get started about our today's video. So friends, we are going to start a new topic that is fever, and in this video I am going to say you about that before fever we should have certain kinds of knowledge about the thermoregulatory mechanism of our body. Okay, so in this video we are going to discuss the thermoregulatory mechanisms that is performed by our body. So first of all, we should be learning that the thermoregulatory mechanisms, then we will be proceeding to the fever and through what is the etiology of fever, what is the pathogenesis of fever, and finally we should treat the fever, that is the pyrotherapy methods. So we are going to cover all this topic under the subject or under the topic of fever. Okay, now let's get started about our today's topic. Today we are going to discuss the thermoregulatory mechanisms. So thermoregulatory mechanisms, before learning this we should have a certain process or we should know a certain process that is homeostasis. What is that homeostasis? Homeostasis is the property of the living organisms to maintain the equilibrium in the environment. It means to maintain and regulate the constant temperature or pH or something in the body that should be maintained according to the changing environment. So that is the property of the living organisms to sustain in the environment or changing environment. So the body is going to make certain kinds of adjustment. What is that adjustment? It is the physiological and biochemical reactions. Through this reaction, the body will try to maintain the changing temperature, pH or anything else, and that property of the living organism is known as homeostasis. So according to this property, the organisms are divided according into two types, that is cold-blooded and warm-blooded animals. So cold-blooded organisms, what are they? They mostly survive in the cold temperature or not below the normal temperature, in the -degree of temperature, and warm-blooded, they tend to survive in the land areas in the normal environmental temperature. So we are warm-blooded organisms. So now we learned that what is that homeostasis. Next, before learning the mechanism of thermoregulation, we should have certain knowledge about what is temperature, what is that normal temperature of a human body, and at what situation it gets elevated or at what situation it gets decreased. Okay, so what is the normal body temperature of a human? It is 36.4 degrees centigrade to 37.2 degrees centigrade, and if we are going to convert in degree Fahrenheit, then it is 97.3 to 99.5 degree Fahrenheit. So if the body temperature is present in between these normal values, then we are going to say that it's a normal body temperature. But the deflection can be in a 24-hour in a circadian cycle. The normal deflection of temperature can be 1 degree centigrade. So if we are going to see the deflection of temperature between 1 degree centigrade, then we are going to conclude it as a normal value. But if the deflection of temperature will be more than 1 degree centigrade, it means if the temperature will get elevated more than 37.2 degrees centigrade or the deflection will be more than 1 degree, so we are going to see the violation of temperature. Then we are going to see the normal physiological or biochemical reactions through which the body will try to maintain the temperature, and that process is known as thermoregulation. And one more thing, that in morning and in evening conditions, there are certain things that we should know. That in morning what happens, the around 5 to 6 o'clock am, and in the evening around 6 pm, what happens, our body temperature is lowest in the morning time, 5 am, or in between 5 to 6 am our body temperature is lowest, and in the evening 6 pm our body temperature is highest. Why is it so? And what is the method, or what is the importance of knowing this information? It is required because it is regulated by a certain hormone that are produced in the blood, and when the hormones will be produced in the blood by certain kinds of glands, we know what are they are called as endocrine glands, and this hormone is nothing but the glucocorticoids that maintains the thermoregulation. So it is a thermoregulatory hormone that will be maintaining, or that will be the cause behind the decreasing or the increasing in the body temperature. So what happens in the morning, there will be increasing in the sufficient amount of glucocorticoids from the adrenal cortex. What is that adrenal cortex? Adrenal cortex or adrenal gland, it has two structure, that is the cortex and medulla. Mostly the adrenal cortex will be stimulated by certain central organ structures, that is hypothalamus in the central nervous system and pituitary gland, that is in the central nervous system. So they are going to stimulate, they are going to produce certain kind of hormones, that is corticotropic releasing hormone, and the pituitary gland will be releasing the adrenocorticotropic hormones. So when these hormones will be released, and they are going to stimulate the adrenal cortex, and as we know it's an endocrine gland, so it will be producing certain kinds of hormones into the blood. What is that hormone? To respond to this, they are going to increase the production of glucocorticoids, and this whole cycle will be maintained in a 24-hour cycle of a day-to-day life, that is the circadian cycle. Okay, so through these mechanisms there will be increasing in the production of glucocorticoids and decreasing in the production of glucocorticoid hormone, and due to this reason only we are going to see certain kinds of deflection of temperature in the morning and evening. So now we have certain kinds of idea about the temperature, what is the normal value, and when we are going to see certain kinds of deflection in the morning and evening. Now let's know about the thermoregulatory centers. So as the body is trying to maintain and regulate the stable temperature of the body, so there will be certain kinds of centers that will be regulating the temperature deflection. So what are these centers called? These centers are known as thermoregulatory centers, because they will identify certain kinds of changes in the body temperature, and then they will perform certain actions like physiological or biochemical reactions to maintain or regulate the temperature. So what are these? Now let's get started about the mechanism of thermoregulatory centers. So primarily the thermoregulatory center that is present in our body is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus present in the brain. It is the most important part of the central nervous system, and mostly the pre-optic anterior hypothalamic nucleus are responsible for performing these kinds of thermoregulation. So these thermoregulations neurons are known as thermostat neurons or the nucleus, that is pre-optic anterior hypothalamic nucleus. This is the most rostral part of the hypothalamus. So this nucleus are present in the rostral part of the hypothalamus that will be regulating this mechanism. What happens as this whole process is a mechanism or regulation mechanisms, so there will be certain receptors present in our body, and these receptors will identify the change in body temperature. What are these receptors? These receptors are the central and peripheral thermoreceptor. As there is a term thermoreceptors, so it means these receptors are going to recognize or perceive the temperature changing, or they are going to sense the change in temperature of the blood. and that is flowing in the body. So they are divided according to the location. If they can be centrally located and they can be peripherally located. Centrally located means whether they are present in the central nervous systems, whether they are getting bath through the blood, and then they will be recognized. They will be recognizing the changing in the temperature of the blood. Then they will be sensing, and then they will be sending the informations to the hypothalamus. The peripheral thermoreceptors are mostly present in the peripheral part of our organs. It can be internal organs like it is present in the periphery of our central nervous system, or organs like internal organs mostly. So these receptors are central and peripheral receptors are going to receive the temperature or the change in deflection in the temperature, and then they are going to send the information next to hypothalamus. Okay, then the hypothalamus will be functioning or will be signaling the other process or mechanisms through which they are going to regulate. Now let's see certain condition or the condition through which the thermoregulatory center gets activated. So the normal body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade and it is a hypothalamic set point. What do you mean by hypothalamic set point? It means if the temperature will be deflected from this very 37 degrees centigrade, then the set point will be activated and this whole mechanism process will occur. It's a very simple thing. So there is a set point. It means it is a marker. If let's say this is 37 degrees centigrade. Okay, so if the body temperature can increase from 37 degrees centigrade and the body temperature can decrease from the 37 degrees centigrade. So these are the two possible conditions that can occur in a normal human body. So when there will be increasing in the body temperature above the normal value of 37 degrees centigrade, what it means? It means the heat production is increased in the body. For a certain moment of time, there will be increasing in the production of heat. And when the body temperature is below the normal, it means the heat production is less. So the heat production is less than the normal body heat production mechanisms. So our body will try to enact to this situation. How? Our body will try to make certain changes. It means if there will be increasing in the heat production previously, that led to increasing in the body temperature, so our body will try to decrease the heat production and increase the heat loss. And contradictory to that, if the body is decreasing its means if there is a condition of decreasing in the body temperature, so the body will try to increase the heat production and decrease the heat loss. So this is the mechanism through which the hypothalamus acts. So hypothalamus has two consecutive mechanisms, that is heat loss and heat production, through which the heat regulation or thermoregulation mechanism occurs. So what is that? When there will be increasing in the body temperature, what happens? The hypothalamus, receiving the informations from this central and peripheral thermoreceptors, will transfer the information, or it will signal certain structures that are the peripheral dermal blood vessels and the sweat glands. And what will be the action to that? They will be dilated. The peripheral blood vessels will be dilated and the sweat glands will increase the sweat secretion. So this is a mechanism through which the blood vessels will be dilated. It means there will be increasing in the surface area of the blood vessels and it will be helping in the process of heat loss. And heat loss have three important mechanisms, that is through radiation, conduction, convection and evaporation. Radiation means through the effect of sun rays our body is losing its heat. Conduction, convection means if we are going to touch or if certain substance having low temperature than our body temperature, then there will be transfer of heat energy from our body to that substance through a touch. Okay, that process is known as convection or convection. And through evaporation, it means through losing of the body water. Okay, next, what happens when there will be increasing in the body temperature? The blood vessels will be dilated and the sweat glands will increase its sweat secretion, and this increasing in the sweat secretion is nothing but the evaporation mechanisms. We are going to feel the cold. It means when there will be increasing in the body temperature, our body will try to decrease the body temperature by losing its heat. So if my hand is cold and this surface will try to lose its temperature, when I will place my hand over this surface, then I am going to feel the warm condition. It means the surface is losing heat and the temperature of my hand is less than the normal. Okay, temperature here is high and in my hand it is less, so I am going to feel warm. So that is the most mechanism of heat loss. Next condition comes when there will be decreasing in the temperature than the normal. What happens? In response to blood vessels and sweat glands, there is a special mechanisms added to it. What is that? It's like there will be blood vessels, it will get constricted, the sweat glands will remain inactive. It means there is no requirement of sweat production anymore, and there will be nervous system activations. The nervous system will send the signals to the muscles for the involuntary contractions. So there will be increasing of the involuntary contractions when there will be decreasing in the temperature. It means our body will try to produce heat by contractions, involuntary muscle contractions, and that process is known as shivering method. Okay, so this is very simple, that through heat loss and heat production mechanism, hypothalamus is going to regulate the thermoregulatory mechanisms. So this is all about the first part of thermoregulation or fever. Okay, so next we are going to read about the fever etiology and pathogenesis. Okay, so if you find this video is helpful for you, and if you do feel that you understood something, please do share and with your friends, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my videos.